Hi kids! Welcome to our lesson for today. So remember last time we talked about how Josiah became king at 8 years old,
yes,
and how he grew up to love and obey God. And 10 years later, when he decided to rebuild the temple, they found a scroll that had all of God's laws, and Josiah had never seen God's laws in his entire life. So when Shaphan, his secretary, read this scroll to him, he started to realize that him and the people of Judah had all disobeyed God's laws, and he sent Shaphan to find a prophet to ask him what God was going to do. And Shaphan found a prophet named Prophet Huldah, and she told him that God was going to punish all of the people of Judah because they had decided to disobey God. But because Josiah had decided to love and obey God, he was going to live a life of peace. So now we're gonna see what happens next with King Josiah.
Yes, so after King Josiah had everything that Prophet Huldah had to say, he decided in his heart that he was going to do the right thing and to keep the laws of God, and that he was going to bring the worship of the true God back to Israel. Yes, so what he did is he went to the temple where everyone was gathered, all the priests, all the officials,
all
and
the
all
important people, all the normal people, everyone.
Yes, so everyone was gathered in the temple, and what he did is he started by reading out the scrolls to them. And as he read, he was excited to actually find out all that the word of God said. And then he told everyone in the temple that look at what God tells us, and everything that God promised to do. He has actually kept his own side of the covenant, but we have broken our side of the covenant, and we have done evil against God. And King Josiah told them that he was willing to do the right thing and to turn back to God. And all the people agreed with him, and they all said,
we promise to turn back to God.
Yes, we promise to turn back to God and to do the right thing.
So after King Josiah had this, remember he had told them about, he had read the word of God to them. Then he told them about the covenant that was made to them. So remember, God made a covenant with all of the Israelites while they were still in Egypt and they were slaves. So he made a covenant with them, and he made promises to them, and God kept all of his promises, but the people did not. So now King Josiah was trying to get everyone to make a fresh start, so that everyone can be on the same page. In order to make this fresh start, he ordered the high priest Hilkiah to go into the temple and remove everything that was bad, everything that was about worshiping Baal, everything that was about worshiping Baal, everything that was all the idols, all the bad images, all the bad laws. They were all removed from the temple and brought in front of everyone, and then they were burnt with a big fire.
So King Josiah ordered that a very big fire be created, and that all these things that were evil, that were from the altars of Baal, that were in the temple, were crushed and put inside that big fire, and they all burnt down to ashes.
Yes, so they burnt all of the bad things, so that now they can only be left with the good things. So after this, King Josiah decided that he was going to organize a big, happy festival so that they can celebrate going back to the ways of God. Now the festival he decided to organize was the Passover feast.
Yes, remember the first time we ever heard about the Passover was when the Israelites were leaving Egypt. And God had given Moses all these instructions that they needed to follow for the Passover to happen.
So now when all of the bad kings were ruling, nobody remembered to celebrate the Passover. Remember, the Passover was supposed to be celebrated every year, but nobody remembered when the bad kings were ruling. So King Josiah wanted to remember all of this that had happened in the Passover. So he set up a wonderful Passover feast, and he did everything the way God had instructed Moses to do the original Passover festival. And he did all of this so that he can bring the people back to God. But
the people heard everything that Josiah had to say from the scrolls and even what he did, but they just heard it and they were not willing to obey. They were not going to do what
they did. I mean, they said they wanted to, but they didn't really want to obey God. They didn't really want to trust and obey God, and this was very sad. But children, what we learn here, and the important thing to remember, is King Josiah did everything he could so the people would remember the word of God, and he tried all that he could. And it is important for us to always want to love and obey and trust God. We need to want to do it, because we will always teach you the word, and you will always be able to have the Bible and you will read it, but you need to want to obey it. You have to decide to obey it.
Yes, and remember, obeying the word of God means that you do everything that the word of God tells you to do. And what it says you should not do, you should not do. So that is what it means to obey the word of God. So now we are going to stand up and sing a very nice song that will teach us to always remember the word of God. So let's all stand up and sing this song.
Okay, it's time to sing our song. Now everyone stand up and help me sing this song about the Bible, which we've just learned is the most important book we can have, because it has God's laws. And just like King Josiah, we need to have God's laws with us. So everyone stand up and help me sing this song. The Bible, yes, that's the book for me. I stand alone on the word of God. The Bible, the Bible, yes, that's the book for me. I stand alone on the word of God. The Bible, yes, that's the book for me. I stand alone on the word of God. The Bible, yes, that's the book for me. I stand alone on the word of God. The Bible, yeah. Okay kids, it's time for us to do our craft. Now we've just talked about how King Josiah lit a bonfire to burn all of the bad things, all of the bad ways, all of the idols and all of the images and all of the bad teachings of Baal. Burn them all away so that he can start afresh and in the ways of God for him and for all of the people of Judah. So to remember this, we are going to create a fire. So we can remember that we should burn all of the bad things and focus only on God. So we have different colored mandala paper. We have orange and we have yellow that we've cut into the shape of a burning fire. And then we have these strips of paper, and this is where we're going to write all of the bad things. Burning the idols, burning the images, burning the ways of Baal, burning the teachings of Baal, injustice. So we'll write all of these things and then we'll put them in our fire so that it looks like all of these things are burning away. Okay, so first thing I need you to do, get rid of everything and take your manila paper, and I need you to write what today's lesson has been and where we can find it. So take your pen and start writing. So today's lesson has been found in 2 Kings chapter 23. So we'll write that first. So that's where we find the story of King Josiah building the fire. Okay? Then we're going to write King Josiah burns out all the evil and promises to follow the ways of God only, because that is what he did. So King Josiah burns out all the evil and promises to start afresh in God's ways only. So God's ways only. Everything else, we will burn it away. Okay, so once you have that written down, I want you to take your fire. So I'm going to start with orange and then yellow and then orange again. But you can start with whatever color you feel like. So take your fire and arrange everything together so that it looks like a really big flame. And then take your stapler and staple it and make sure it's firm. But we also need to be able to have pockets so that we can leave space to put in all of the things that we need to burn, all of the bad things. Okay, so you can add staples as you go around if you feel like it's not firm enough, but for us we're going to use it like this with just one staple. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to take strips of paper and you need to write all of the bad things that you're going to burn away. So we'll start with all of the bad things that King Josiah burnt away. So one of the things he burnt were the idols. So he burnt Baal's idols. So we'll write idols. And the next thing were the evil ways. And the next thing that was bad and was happening in Judah was injustice. And then we can keep on writing as many things as you want to write. Hate. Yes, we can write hate. And the good thing about this fire is you can keep on writing all of the bad things that need to be burnt away, and then you keep adding it to the fire. So now that it's done, we're going to place all of these things in the fire and make sure they are being burnt away. So then just place all of them in the fire, make sure they are burnt away.
Yeah, so you can put as many evil things that you want to be burnt away from your life. You may not be in Judah like in those days, but there are still evils that are taking place in our society today and around us today. Like people hate each other, there's so much evil going around. So the things that you do not want to see around you or in your society or in your family, so those are the things that you write and then put them inside the fire.
All the way inside the fire and make sure they get
burn. Yes. So just like Josiah made a big fire and burnt all the evils that he did not want to see in Judah anymore, we are going to make our fire and write as many things as we can and then put them inside the fire
and burn them all away.
Yes. Okay, so that's our lesson today, and that has been our craft. Until next time, bye.